Hey man, what's going on? Goose here. So this video will be about Garrett Nussmeier. So trying to make some more videos about LSU content because football season will be gearing up. But yeah, Garrett Nussmeier, in my opinion, is one of a dying breed in college football, and it's the guys that are waiting their turn to play. You see guys hitting the transfer portal after one season being a freshman because I'm not playing. I want to go somewhere else. But this guy has stuck around since 2021. And of course, was the starting quarterback last year. But you don't see that much. It worked out for Matt Flynn for LSU. Matt Flynn stayed around, stayed behind Jamarcus Russell, then won a national title in 2007. Remains to be seen if it will work out for Garrett Nussmeier in 2025. But he came in highly recruited in 2021, and that was at Orgeron's final season. They really threw him into the fire game against Arkansas because Max Johnson was underperforming at that point in the season. I just felt it was really just in poor taste of putting him in the game to start the game because it just wasn't setting him for success. So, and he played sparingly in 2022 because that's when they got Jayden Daniels. In 2023, he played sparingly because Jayden Daniels, won the Heisman in 2023. Then 2024 was his first time being a starter, and he had some games that was really good games, but then he had some bad games because he was a first year quarterback. I'm gonna try to pull up his stats here, and I had him pulled up, and then I didn't have him pulled up because I wanted to go by the game stats here for Garrett Nussmeier. Oh, there's the game log. There's the game log. So bear with me. Human error here. All right. So USC was his first real start in college football because it was him. He was the guy. He was number one quarterback. There was nobody behind him, and he had no pressure. And he played fairly well against USC. The defense let him down a little bit, but he did. He had an interception, but it was late in the game. I thought he played really, really well against USC the first game, which is I don't think it was necessarily his fault that they lost that game. So, but then he started playing well against Nichols. Was a who cares what Nichols. And against South Carolina, he had a bad interception in South Carolina. That was a pick six. It got called back on a questionable, roughing the passer call, targeting call. Forgot what they called it, but I think it was roughing the passer targeting. So it took a pick six away. That probably would have won the game for South Carolina. And then so he had a good game against UCLA, and then South Alabama he had two interceptions. And then came Ole Miss. Ole Miss, he played well. He played bad, and he played well again at the end because he had the drive right before end of the game and tied it up. And then went overtime. He had the touchdown pass to Kyron Lacey that won the game. And then against Arkansas, it was mainly they won that game because of their running and their defense. He had no touchdown passes whatsoever in that game. But then came a stretch where he really struggled when he played Texas A&M, especially in the second half against Texas A&M. He threw 3 interceptions against A&M. Against Alabama was a team loss. That wasn't on him. They lost. They were getting beat 42-6 at one point. They had one touchdown at the end, which was a garbage touchdown. But he didn't play well in that game. But the whole team didn't play well. I think he had a fumble, two interceptions. Then against Florida, he only completed like 58% of his passes against Florida. That wasn't really a loss on him. It was a team loss because the defense played horrible. The offensive line couldn't block. The loss really wasn't on him per se, but he didn't play well against Florida. But the whole team didn't play well. Then he bounced back against Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Baylor the last 3 games of the season where he threw 8 touchdowns and 1 interception in the last 3 games of the year against Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Baylor. So now this is Garrett Nussmeier. This is his year. He's a redshirt senior, so he wants to go out with a bang. But look, this is going to be a really they got a tough schedule. They got to go to Clemson, they got to go to Alabama, to Ole Miss, to Vanderbilt, and to Oklahoma. And this is going to be a tough schedule. Plus, they got South Carolina at home, which is going to be a good team. You got Florida. I hope they beat us last year, and A&M. That beat us last year. So we got 2 teams we play at home that beat us last year that we need to get revenge on. But can Garrett Nussmeier, he doesn't need to be Jayden Daniels. He doesn't need to be Joe Burrow. He doesn't need to be all this hype around him. No, he needs to have a Joe Burrow year or he doesn't need to have that. He needs to have a Garrett Nussmeier year. That's what he needs to have. He needs to complete around 70 or close to 70% of his passes. And of course, limit the turnovers, limit the bad mistakes, and he needs to run the ball a little bit more. He doesn't need to be Jayden Daniels running the football, but he needs to get out of the pocket, get those 5 yards. Like Joe Burrow was good at that, but I think Joe Burrow was a little more mobile than Garrett Nussmeier is. But Joe Burrow was able to do that. But I'm really curious to see how Garrett Nussmeier handles his senior season and how LSU is going to handle all these expectations that they have, because some people are picking them to go to the playoffs. I think they should go to the playoffs based on the roster they have, but that remains to be seen. But Garrett Nussmeier, he's a dying breed in college football. A guy who waited around, and now finally got his job to start his last 2 years of college football, because he could have gone to the transfer portal when they got Jayden Daniels was coming back for 2023. He could have hit the transfer portal just like Walker Howard did, and he would be somewhere else, would have been somewhere else playing for a few years, and probably maybe they got drafted by now. But good to see Garrett Nussmeier stick around, because you don't see that in college football anymore. You probably won't ever see it again. But what do you guys think, man? Will Garrett Nussmeier finally? Will Garrett Nussmeier, will he have the season that brings LSU to the playoffs? I really hope so, but that depends on a lot of other factors besides him. But we'll get on that in other videos. But have a good one, and go Tigers.